Yo, so I'm back in here for another edition of F-ya-Motha. Periodically, I do an episode about Umar Johnson. With every passing day, this nigga makes it hard to like him. On several key points, I agree with the nigga. Is transphobia or is transgenderism a mental illness? Yes. Do we need to raise our boys and daughters and build schools and shit like that? Yes. Do we need to teach knowledge of self? Yes. Where I fall short on agreeing with this nigga, well, I'll just let y'all see the video clip.
You don't think the black woman got a right to be angry when she been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years? And the minute she raised her voice, we say she not humble enough. She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs to be more
selective. If we was loving our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history. The black woman has been the be-all, end-all in our community for half of a century, and now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough when she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous.
So now y'all got to see that. That's from the Daily Wrap-Up crew. I fucks with them heavy. I think it's like 3 or 4 educated brothers, or at least intelligent niggas, right? Intelligent enough. They always combating hood rats. But they had Umar Johnson on their show. And this nigga's a certifiable simp, right? The Prince of Pan Pizza, Prince of Pineapples, whatever the fuck. This nigga claims that it's black men's fault that black women are overly masculine. I hate when simp ass niggas like him and Boyce Watkins like to place the blame on us. Now, are there a segment of men that have actually fueled this shit? Yeah, bum niggas, but they were chose by these hoes. So if I come along and a bitch got 2, 3, 4 kids and her baby daddy didn't stick around, it's not my fault that she's masculine or overly masculine. And I kind of don't give a fuck that she had to do everything because she chose a bum nigga that skated out on her. That's not my fucking problem. Now, I am with the whole each one teach one or however that shit goes. And I do believe in building the community, which I live in the community, right? I don't live in the suburbs. And it's not because I can't. It's because I love living around black people, feel more safer. White people get dicey. But to say that when I come along, it's my fault. No, it's the niggas that she was fucking with. And we have a whole bunch of ornery bitches, suburb black women that act like this, that act overly masculine. Explain that shit. I've dated a few women that grew up with both their parents in the household, suburbanite, middle class and all that shit, and she still act like a ratchet bitch. That's not my fucking problem. Once again, I am not trying to fix the problem with people that are supposed to be my equal mentally and intellectually. We need to stop doing that as black people. And we really need to stop listening to black men trying to make cop-outs for these hoes. The fact that this bitch and her mother and 50 years of these hoes picking men is because they chose to choose Section 8 welfare and government assistance and they kicked the man out the house. That ain't my fucking problem. See, my mom didn't have a man in the household, but it's because my dad was a piece of shit wife beater. Not because she didn't have men that didn't want to stick around. My mom dated a couple men while I was growing up, and they stuck around years on end. I even had a fucking stepfather, so that's bullshit that women had to do everything on their own. That's because they chose. My mom had the decency to actually not get married once, but twice, and chose suitable men. Now, whether they stuck around in the long haul, they stuck around years on end. They took care of responsibilities. Even my dad, up until he became a fucking like domestic violence abuser, handled his business. My mom, several of my aunties chose men that stuck the fuck around. They chose the right nigga. They wasn't choosing. By and large, most of my family, the niggas ain't really thugs. The niggas that's the thugs is the younger motherfuckers. The old motherfuckers had jobs like garbage men, factory workers, worked at GM, shit like that. Like worked for the city, worked for driving buses. They was square niggas. They did the right thing. They married most of my aunts and even my mom. So these hoes are stupid nowadays and have been for the last fucking 40 years since the late 80s. This hoes been picking niggas that was flashy and selling dope and gangbangers and shit. They get what they get. And I have no remorse and I don't give a fuck. And most black men need to stop listening not only to niggas like this, but bitches that make this excuse. Because I went in the comment section and I see a whole bunch of bitches agreeing with this shit, taking no accountability. Now, I've heard somewhere that women are never going to take accountability, and that's the fucking problem. They do reckless shit and then they don't take accountability. Only thing you can do with stupid motherfuckers like that is leave them where they at. So they gonna get mad we date white bitches or any other woman that's not black. They gonna get mad we move to the suburbs. It is what it is. What I'm not trying to do is come along after you 3 kids deep, after Rodney didn't work out and he doing a 5 to 10 year bid. That ain't my fucking problem. And your ass had to get 2 jobs because you was too stupid to not go to college. And then when you got out, got a decent job and focused on shit that was actually important. Or if you did do dating, bitch, don't let every nigga that you date skeet in you raw. It's not hard. These hoes make all these excuses. They don't use birth control. They allergic to condoms. You know, these hoes are just stupid. And I'm not saying all of them. There's a good segment of black women. I say about 50% got their head tied on tight. The rest of these hoes is walking around that if their head wasn't attached to their neck, they lose their motherfucking mind. And I'm not gonna be culpable, and I don't give a fuck about simp ass niggas that want to place blame where blame ain't due. This nigga doesn't even have a wife or a girlfriend, so I'm questioning if this nigga even likes pussy. In the whole 10 years he been on a campaign of opening the school, we ain't seen him with a stitch of pussy. In those 10 years, I can at least say I've gotten laid several times a week, which is not the highlight of my life, but I'm just putting that out there. In any event, if you agree with this hoe ass nigga, fuck your mother. And if you're a bum bitch that agree with this nigga, you probably deserve to have several babies by several baby daddies because you stupid. And I'm out. No.